for Justin. 17 have tried against Ilya. All of them have failed. Why are you different?
Yeah, there's no doubt this guy is one of the best in the world. He's #2 on the pound-for-pound list. I have so much experience in the cage, and I'm going to use that experience to be great. All I got to do is go in there and be perfect. I trust in my abilities, and fighting is crazy, and so I'm going to go in there and put it on the line.
Right hand, he hurt him.
This was my last chance to do something spectacular. I was never going to get a chance to fight for a belt again, and thank you, God.
32-0. That was the combined record of Khamzat Chimaev and Ilia Topuria just 6 weeks ago. Two unbeaten champions, two of the scariest fighters this sport has ever seen, 5 weeks apart. They both lost, and not to the other elites, not to the guys sitting near them in the pound-for-pound rankings. They lost to guys everybody had already counted out. Guys, the odds makers, the media, the fans, all of us said they were going to beat easily.
Justin Gaethje and Ilia Topuria next, so who do you think wins out of that fight?
Put your hand up if you think Justin Gaethje's gonna win. Ain't a fucking person in this room that put their goddamn hand up.
All right, so here's a question worth asking. We always assume the better fighter has the edge, but what if being crowned the best, having the whole world agree you can't lose, quietly works against you? What if the second everybody agrees you're winning is the exact second you start losing? We never really stop to think about what being the best actually does to a fighter. We see the record, we see the skills, we assume that's all there is to it. But something happens to a fighter the moment the world decides he can't lose.
Being such a big favorite, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. Ilya was a big favorite, and he didn't go out there and do what the odds books, what the sports books were saying he should have done.
When you're coming up, your only job is to win. That's it. But the second you're the favorite, the second everybody agrees you're supposed to win, you're not chasing a victory anymore, you're protecting it. And those are two totally different things going on inside your head. One of them makes you dangerous, the other one makes you fragile.
Being a huge underdog in this fight is huge for me. It's pushed me to different levels when it comes to my training and being ready for this opportunity.
Topuria and Chimaev are just the latest examples of this phenomenon. This pattern's been wrecking the best fighters in the world for over 20 years, and it makes you wonder if all that recognition, all that proof that you're the best, quietly cost you something the moment you step in there to defend it.
Fighting Business is one of my favorite new channels going right now. Thank you to The Fighting Business, absolutely amazing.
So I came across some statistics recently, and the more I looked at them, the more I realized being a favorite might not feel anywhere near as good as we think it does. Let me show you. When two guys are basically even, a slight favorite somewhere around -120, that fighter only wins about half the time, 50, 51%. Makes sense. It's a coin flip. Now, you'd expect that as the favorite gets better, as the odds climb, that win rate just keeps climbing right up with it. And for a while it does. Bump it up to -200 favorite and you jump to around 65%. Push it to -300 favorite and you're climbing to the low 70s. Take it to -400. Now you're around 80% win rate. Every step up in the odds is buying you 7, 8% more in your win rate. The line is shooting straight up, and more importantly, it's consistent. But then something weird happens. Because once you get into that heavy favorite range, the -500, -600, and all the way up to -900, the guys who are supposed to be untouchable, the win rate just kind of stalls out. It flattens. Across that entire range, the win rate barely moves, 1, 2% at a time. Everywhere else on that graph, the math behaves. So how is that the moment that you get to the most dominant, most feared fighters in the world, the ones who are supposed to be the surest things in the sport, the whole thing just stalls out? How could that happen? When you watch a big favorite walk to the cage, you assume he's the hunter, the bigger name, the scarier guy, everything going for him. But he's going through stuff nobody even realizes.
To tell you the utmost truth, I didn't even want to go out there tonight. I was thinking of ways to fake an injury, and I was just, I'm getting a bit worked up saying it because it sorry.
The underdog has one job that night: win. The favorite has two: win and look like he was always supposed to. And that second job is what kills him. He's not just fighting the guy across from him. He's defending the position we've collectively put him in. Juliana Pena understood this perfectly before she fought Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, and I mean, even her coaches herself have said it before. It's harder for her because if she doesn't, finish somebody off in 10 seconds, and look invincible, then, she looks like not as great of a dominant champion. I'm not experiencing that type of pressure, and I think that the most important thing is to just go to work, be you,
The Lioness was a -850 favorite, the greatest female fighter of all time. The fans knew it. The media knew it, other fighters knew it, Nunes herself knew it. And Pena, this massive underdog, straight up told everybody the pressure was on Amanda, that if she didn't go out there and look invincible, didn't finish her in some dramatic way, if she ended up not looking like the woman's GOAT everybody needed her to be, people would immediately criticize.
If you watch Misha Tate fight, it's the same fighter right there. So I see before. What if she show up Saturday? I'm gonna have the answers and I will finish her. This belt not gonna go anywhere, baby. I'm telling you.
Well, Pena wasn't dealing with any of that. She walked in cool and relaxed, nothing to lose, and she choked Nunes out in the second round.
I was cool, I was calm, I was collected. I was cool as a cucumber, and I definitely think that made for a easy second fight camp, easy fight week, and a easy walkout.
That's the whole dynamic right there. The underdog gets freedom, the favorite gets a weight nobody else can even see. And it's not just the people who lose that feel it. It's everybody who walks in the cage with the favorite label. When Sean O'Malley walked in against Ayman Zahabi, everybody expected him to perform, to outclass this dude, to make it look easy. That was the expectation. And after he wins, the feeling isn't quite the same.
Being such a big favorite, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders. Ilya was a big favorite, and he didn't go out there and do what the sports books were saying he should have done. So to be able to go out there and actually do it by being the big favorite, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
For O'Malley, winning at the White House against Ayman was more of a relief, not joy. What really stands out to me here is listening to O'Malley and Topuria before their fights. Both guys were massive favorites against their opponents, but one of them was visibly more cautious.
Ayman has a very kind of weird style. And he's mastered it. He's got a weird little Strickland kind of thing going on, but I do think he's a very dangerous opponent. You can't take someone like this. Like I take this guy as serious as if I was fighting Merab.
One was almost preparing for the worst case scenario, while the other was dismissing it like it could never happen.
When it comes to the octagon, bro, I'm the king. In there, I'm the king. I do with you whatever I want to fucking do. I told him, like, I'm going to break his job in the first round.
Ilya Topuria has been confident his entire career. He's always called his shots to round the finish, and people loved him for it. It raised the stakes, and most of the time he backed it up. This time was different though. It felt like he didn't see Gaethje on his level. In his head, this one was already over, and that was the key difference.
I just feel that I'm way better than him. I knew that at some time I would have to defend my belt against him since he became the interim world champion. But I don't know, I see almost zero possibilities for him.
Confidence is a weapon, but right up until you stop seeing the men across from you as a real threat, the second that happens, you don't train the same, you don't strategize the same, you don't carry yourself the same, and you don't even notice it's happening.
He really backed himself into a corner saying he's going to be so dominant. And I said it, when we go to the second round, you're going to be like, what the fuck? When we go to the third round, you're going to be like, what the fuck? And, you know, that's what I did tonight.
That tells you everything about what being the favorite actually feels like. Winning just means you didn't fuck it up. That's the trap. The favorite isn't attacking. He's out there defending a version of himself that everybody else built for him. But this pressure doesn't just live in the cage on fight nights. It crawls all the way back into the months before and to the gym, the film room, and to the actual work. And that's where the real damage happens.
When I beat Matthews, I was like the new kids on the block. Everybody told me how good I was, and I start to believe my own hype. I never been rugged before that. I never got hurt, so I start to think that I was invincible. And then I was fighting a guy, Matt Serra. It's probably the only night that I sleep well before a fight. It's my fight with Matt Serra. And I lost that fight by TKO. I'm like, man, I'm never gonna make the same mistake again.
The night before the biggest upset of his career, Georges St-Pierre slept like a baby. The preparation was not necessarily perfect. The nerves didn't just disappear, but somewhere deep down, it didn't really matter. He'd just beaten Matt Hughes. Dana White was calling him his hitman. Every fighter, every analyst, every fan around him was pointing in the same direction, and his brain did what any brain does when every single voice in the room agrees. It told him, this one's handled. He never decided that. He never sat down and said, Sarah's not a real threat. It happened underneath all of that. Being the favorite doesn't feel dangerous. It feels like confidence. But by the time you take a breath, you realize they've already catched up to you. The underdog wakes up every single morning knowing the whole world expects him to lose. And weirdly, that's the best thing that can happen to him. Because when your brain genuinely believes you might lose, it can't coast. There's no quiet voice telling you it's handled because nothing about your situation says it is.
Expect a war, always. Some of the biggest mistakes that I've made with fighters that I had is allowing them to think that they're going to go through this fight easy, and then that fight becomes super hard.
They're not going to help them in that moment.
Yeah.
There's no pulling them out.
That's fighting. Fighting is mentality. It's not the technical piece. It's getting back up, and it's okay to get knocked down. I love watching people get knocked down because my favorite part is seeing how they get up.
Justin Gaethje walked into that camp completely clear-eyed about how dangerous Topuria was, and they built everything around that respect.
Can't watch him put Volkanovski, Holloway, and Oliveira to sleep back to back to back and not think something special is happening. You know, all those guys were compromised by position, and he is very good at putting you into bad positions, and so obviously that is what I am focused on right now, is staying in good position, and I'm gonna fight a perfect fight.
The jab to control distance, the hip feints to disrupt timing, moving to your left side, not backwards.
How we stop Volk, where he'll throw at you, and then you go, and then he readjusts his lead shoulder almost to a southpaw. Super dangerous there. That was one thing we talk about. We cannot go backwards to the left.
Specific, obsessive, detailed preparation. The kind you only do when part of you genuinely believes you could lose. Same thing with Strickland's camp before Chimaev. His coaches weren't talking like a team that had it figured out.
The guy is unflappable out there. Why do you feel confident going into this with your guy, Sean?
I think, Sean is just the game plan. It's his style, his awkwardness, but his durability, his pace. We've got our work cut out for us, man. We know that Khamzat's a great champion, and we're going to have to really come up with a great game plan to nullify what he does well.
They brought in training partners specifically to simulate Chimaev's grappling. They prepared for the threat instead of assuming it would take care of itself.
Plan to go out and help him after my fight. Because me and Sean are buddies. I think I'd be a great look for him, push him in the wrestling. I mean, either guy can win. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be a tough fight. If he approaches it properly, is in tune with the training and not overtrained and prepares well for this fight, I think he has a great shot at winning the title again.
Now, the contrast on the other side here is very clear. Before Gaethje, Topuria staged a literal funeral, 18-0 in his bio, celebrating the night before the fight. Like I said, confidence is great, but when you lose the urgency, when you subconsciously stop worrying about your opponent, you've already lost. So, you've got two fighters walk into the same cage. One spent his camp solving a problem, the other spent his camp assuming there wasn't one.
When you look ahead at what this matchup means on paper, what Sean Strickland brings to the table, what type of challenge are you expecting?
I hope he's going to be healthy, no injury, so being ready. When I beat him up, he don't have an excuse.
Every fan knows MMA math doesn't work. You've heard it a million times. He beat the guy who beat the guy, so he should win. It's all just fugazi, right? But psychologically, it still plays a big factor here. For the favorite, it's not even a real calculation he sits down and makes. It's a subconscious shortcut that he tells himself. When you've beaten the guys who beat your next opponent, your brain just files it away on its own. This should be easy. Already cleared this division, already beat better, so the guy in front of you gets stamped and categorized before you've even tried to figure out the game plan. The assumption does the work that the preparation was supposed to do.
Sean Strickland, your old friend, has been tweeting about you since the fight. He said that when you were in the gym together, he would actually out-wrestle you and be better than you in the wrestling over 4 rounds.
Bro, Dricus take him down many times, so how can he take me down, bro? Come on.
When Chimaev dominated Duplessis, he laughed at the idea of fighting Strickland. Just like all of us, by the way. MMA math just didn't make sense. DDP beat up Strickland twice. Chimaev absolutely ran through DDP. So, on paper, Strickland's already a solved problem. 3 months later, Strickland outpointed him for 5 rounds and took the belt. The underdog here gets handed the exact same MMA math, but it has the opposite effect. Before the fight, Gaethje laid the math out himself. Holloway, Oliveira, those are guys that finished him, but got viciously knocked out by Ilia Topuria.
He knocked out Max Holloway knocked me out. Right. He knocked out Charles Oliveira finished me. And so it makes perfect sense. And I have an opportunity to do something special, and I could not ask for anything better.
That's what MMA math does to the underdog. It doesn't let him breathe. Every stat, every result, every comparison points to the same conclusion. You're not supposed to win.
Oliveira also has had really 2 problems in his career. Trouble making weight, problems dealing with adversity. When a fight gets going hard, when a fight gets tough, and there's a way out, he has found that way out before.
Ele pode falar, ele tem a boca pra falar, ele pode escolher o que ele quer. Dia 7 vou provar o campeão tem nome, se chama Charles Oliveira. Esse é o cara que nasceu pra fazer história. Eu sou iluminado.
So, you can't file anything away. You can't assume the math is screaming at you that there's a problem. So, you treat it like one. You solve it. over and over every single day of camp until you found an answer the numbers didn't account for.
For me to be here today, you know, it means so much to me. Every fight people say, oh, I'm going to get knocked out, I'm going to get submitted, I'm going to get manhandled, I'm going to get destroyed, whatever. And I consistently prove people wrong time and time again.
The favorite gets the math and excels. The underdog gets the same math and works harder. That's the whole difference.
Glover Teixeira, congratulations, my friend. How good does it feel to finally get this belt wrapped around your waist?
20 years, baby. Never give up in your dreams. No matter what people say, don't listen to them. They're gonna put you down. Don't listen to those negative people. Believe in yourself, keep going forward.
So if this keeps happening across eras, across weight classes, against any kind of favorite this sport has ever produced, the real question isn't why. We know why. The real question is whether anybody can actually beat it. When you look at Khabib retiring when he did now, it all starts to make sense. The truth is, retiring unscathed doesn't exist in this sport. It can't. The only way to do it is to leave too early, to walk away while there are still real challenges in front of you, still contenders lining up, still questions left unanswered. Khabib left at 33 years old. He did it while guys were still waiting for their shot, and a lot of people called it too soon, because it was. But that's the only way this works. The longer you fight, the more title defenses you stack up, the more this thing compounds, and the more taxing it is on the mind. It's not that the greats eventually lose because they suddenly get worse. It's that winning slowly eats the exact thing that made them great. The hunger, the obsession, that nothing to lose desperation that got them to the top quietly disappears the second they get there. Because you can't chase something you already have. They call it champion's disease, but it's not a flaw in the fighter. It's just what winning does. It's almost impossible to avoid.
Yeah, I'll put all the pressure on myself because in my head I was like, you know, I have to beat this guy. No matter what, I have to beat this guy. There's the outside pressure, but the pressure you put on yourself as well. But I just didn't have that venom.
The people who keep beating the favorites aren't more talented. They're not better athletes. They're probably not even better fighters. They're just still hungry in a way the favorite forgot how to be. They've still got something to prove. They've still got a problem to solve. And that turns out to be the most dangerous thing a fighter can have. So, the next time the whole world tells you a fight's a done deal, the next time the odds are 6-1 and everybody agrees there's a domination incoming, remember what that certainty actually does to the person carrying it. And right now, the pressure is all on Max Holloway. 5 years out, metal rod in his leg, every number, every stat, every analytic pointing in the same direction. On paper, Conor McGregor cannot win this fight. And he might be the only person on earth who can't see it. I broke down that entire story in my last video. Go check it out.